Roger John Madden in Acamal, Mexico, with one last story about Sam, my first homeless waif that I took in off the street and carted her around in my camper van and gave her love. Never physical. None of those 7 girls. They were all too fucked up to want. Even if you wanted, it wouldn't make sense. It'd be terrible. But Sam was so funny and such a piece of work. I have to tell one last story. Uh, the whole time, the whole 10 days she ran with me in the van, we were both broke. We were both smokers. And so one day we're going, can we together between us come up with the money for a cheap pack of cigarettes, not my American Spirits, some shit cigarette, at least not menthol. So she shook a pair of her jeans and a $5 bill fell out. And I said, thank you, Jesus. And more emphatically than that, I'm not sure that God dispenses money for cigarettes, certainly not in the U.S. where cigarettes are so disapproved. But here in the Riviera Maya, where there's almost no stigma against cigarettes and lots of people smoke, maybe the Mexican God does give, but that was the U.S. So she headed in for the convenience store, and the only requirement I made was no menthol, okay? Get anything else you want, no menthol. So she came out and got the pack out and lit up a cigarette. And I said, what cigarettes are those? They're menthol, right? And she looked at me so sweet and so sassy and delivered this line better than the Rolling Stones. She said, you can't always get what you want, John. And I couldn't be angry. Couldn't be angry. It totally cracked me up. And every time I hear that line, which I say it to myself a lot because it is true, God does, I believe, give you what you need, which often is not what you thought you wanted. But every time I say that line, I think of Sam. In addition to so many other things that make, but I really didn't think about her most of the time I'm in Mexico. I think there's something about getting planted here in Acamal that has me reminiscing more about the early days of my travel. All right, bye.